week's episode of Vaticano. Rome gears up for a meeting of the world's bishops on new evangelization. This 96-year-old cardinal defends the legacy of Pope Pius XII. The Pontifical Council for Laity presents its website, available in 4 languages. The Vatican voices support for renewable energy, while the Jesuits increase their commitment to social justice and ecology. This and a tour of an old home for the popes coming up on Vaticano. Hundreds of bishops will unite in Rome this October to plot the course for the re-evangelization of the Western world.
The Synod
of Bishops is an institution that was born in 1965 in the final phase of the Second Vatican Council. Pope Paul VI created it. To date, we have celebrated 25 Synod assemblies of 3 types: ordinary, extraordinary, and special in nature. The next of these will take place from the 7th to the 28th of October. It's the 13th Ordinary General Assembly. That's the 25th assembly in total. Representatives from the episcopates of the world will be coming, delegates from more than 5,000 bishoprics on the globe. There will be about 250 bishops here who will pray, speak in a very fraternal dialogue, and the president of the acts will be Pope Benedict XVI. It's on the new evangelization and the transmission of the Christian faith. The Christian faith is transmitted in the family, in schools, especially Catholic ones, in the parish, and in other Christian and Catholic institutions. However, in recent years, this process is not so automatic, and it doesn't work as well as in the past. For this reason, the Holy Father has decided to reflect on this theme and ask what we need to do to transmit the richness of our faith to the new generations, in a context that changes. The gospel of Christ is always the same, but it's the context that changes. For this reason, we speak of the new evangelization, but the aim of the new evangelization is the transmission of the Christian faith.
The Vatican last held a Synod of Bishops in 2011, when bishops studied the situation of the Church in the Middle East. This time, Church leaders will be studying the best ways to present the faith to people today.
According to the Blessed Pope John Paul II, new evangelization must be new in its ardor, new in its expressions, and new in its methods. He himself practiced this, because new in ardor means that we must be saints. Now he has officially been declared blessed, and he beatified and canonized many saints and blesseds. So with them he invites us with his example to a new path of holiness, new in expression. There's a well-known expression that man is the principal way of the Church, so every person is called by God. The Church needs to address each person individually, men and women. It's also new in its methods, which are many. They are also facilitated by new technologies. Think of the Pope's apostolic trips to different countries and World Youth Days, for example. This is very important, that the new evangelization is directed to the people of the entire world.
Here in Rome, where initiatives abound for the new evangelization, this priest is perhaps one of the more original acts. Father Di Chiera had an incredible conversion 15 years ago after meeting a young Catholic girl. He exchanged dealing drugs at discotheques for the Bible and life as a Christian.
I went from what I did before, a life without too many morals, without too many problems, without any reason or ambitions, to start asking myself a bunch of questions. We're talking about 1996. Started reading God's Word and trying to put it into practice, trying to welcome God into my life, trying to do good for others. I'd done so much bad. I'd even stolen from the church when I was younger. So I wanted to try to help my neighbor, to make him happy, to try and bring a smile to people's faces. Then I started to study theology, and little by little I responded to this call to be a priest. For 9 years I've been in the New Horizons community, and I do street evangelization, that is, going out and encountering others. Today, churches here are too empty. There are few young people going to parishes, so we've got to go out and find them. There's so many ways to do this, going out to social centers, going into public places of encounter, squares, in schools to do prevention for problems of alcohol, drugs, gambling dependency, and then everywhere, even in discotheques and on the beach in summertime. For the last few years, I've also started doing magic tricks. I'll show you one. This is just an example. On the streets, we can do this type of game. Using our imaginations, which are a gift from God, we imagine that this is our sins, and this is the hand of God. What happens in confession? My sins in the hand of God. When I confess, I put all my sins in the hand of God. When I have confessed, they are no longer there. The sins disappear.
Ideas like his, and many others being used to attract young people to the faith, will certainly be themes of discussion in Rome this October. This 96-year-old Roman cardinal was already a priest during World War II. That's when he met Pope Pius XII for the first time.
I was the assistant in a parish in Rome. I am Roman. The parish was big, 60,000 people. They were the greatest years of my life. They were years of great suffering and great danger. But I was fully satisfied to be living among the people who, when fascism fell, had no point of reference but the church, the parish, and the priest. I had so many young people with me, who came also from other parts of Rome. Besides the regular pastoral ministry in the parish, with these young people I began initiatives that in those times were quite innovative and original. We also lived in danger, however. There were German soldiers who came into my parish once looking for a young man with their bayonets in the air. There were 5 of them, with guns pointed at my chest. I had the unimaginable surprise to find myself, immediately after the bombing, near to the Pope who went to the site of the disaster, where I was among the wounded, dead, and dying. Paul VI, then Monsignor Montini, was also there accompanying the Pope. They came together, leaving the Vatican before the alarm had finished ringing, taking to the streets after the huge bombing of the English airplanes. A train convoy was attacked as it came from Bari, with 2,000 people on board. It was a massacre, and I found myself among all of these dead and dying, all these people who no longer had homes. 7- and 8-story buildings were brought to the ground. These are experiences that were completely unexpected or even imagined. In those moments of war, there were no distinctions. They were all lives that needed to be saved. We as the Church had to help them. I found myself there on the front lines. At the age of 24, I was enthusiastic, and I found myself there for the first time with Pius XII. I wouldn't have ever imagined finding the Pope there so close.
The legacy of Pope Pius XII has been discussed in the post-war period. Some say he could have done more to save the lives of Jews in Rome. This cardinal, however, sees things very differently.
Pius XII helped everyone. I would say also the Jews, if not especially the Jews. I accompanied a few Jews also as they were saved. The Pope gave an order to open all the convents, seminaries, and monasteries. The Pope did his duty for those who know him and his intelligence and holiness. In accusing him of not having acted in favor of the Jews, they tell lies, fully knowing what they were doing. They're historical lies, blasphemies, because prudence shouldn't be confused with courage and vice versa. I can try to help someone jumping out a window, and we could both die. The Pope did his duty, and he was an intrepid individual. Pius XII was a saint, and for this reason, he wasn't thinking about his own life. He loved the people.
Welcome back. You're watching Vaticano. The Pontifical Council for the Laity is emphasising its presence on the web as a reference point for Catholics worldwide.
So the Pontifical Council for the Laity has created this new website that wants to be like an open window to look at all the work that we day-to-day do in favor of the Catholic laity. It is directed to all the lay faithful that want to know more about their vocation, about their role within the Church, and to those that are united in associations or in movements, but also to those that collaborate with the church, either working in the structures of the church or simply being a representative of the church out there in the world where the Lord calls them. So it is a way of being in contact with what we do day to day. And that was our aim in having it, to make more known the things that we do, the reflections that we have, the things that we are thinking about, and also the guidances, the guidelines that the Pope is giving the laity to better live their own vocation. So in the homepage we have, in the first place, these photos that speak about different news, the latest news and of events that we are organizing or things that have happened within us. And then immediately we have the words of the Pope, where we try to gather recent things that the Pope has said about the vocation of the lay faithful. So it's just little references that he makes, for example, in his speeches or in documents to the vocation of the laity. We try and gather that, and then a message from our president, Cardinal Rilko, that also changes continuously. And then down there we have news, latest news, and videos of recent events about the laity.
From there, the site is divided into sections representing the Council. There is a directory for all the lay associations recognised by the Holy See, then sections on youth, women and sport.
Our website has different sections, and the youth section we want to give information, first of all, about the next World Youth Day, and also we have a gathering for delegates of the World Youth Day in every part of the world, and we give them also informations, but not only information, practical information on the World Youth Day, but also reflection on the youth ministry. Also because Pope Benedict is very attentive to education, evangelization of young people, so we try to give them some materials to think about it, and we would like to increase these parts of our website.
Then we have also the women's section, which is a part of the council that tries to follow particularly all that interests women in society, women in the church, and the better unfolding of women's vocation. And so here we have also a reflection that changes month by month. We have an important feature that we are very proud of, is a library of articles that are divided into four main themes: philosophy, theology, Bible, and culture and society. And these articles are all written with the mind of the church by women or by people that study the reality of women, man and woman relationship. And from all these different points of view, they give an excellent insight into all these questions. So this library, this online library, can be very useful for people that are interested in understanding more about the vocation, the identity of women.
Well, we've been finding since our first seminar in 2005 that there's so many great things going on throughout the world, but so the left hand knows what the right hand is doing. We want to share, and I think this is really probably the essence of our office. It becomes kind of a hub. So what we find that's working in certain areas can be, at least people can know about that, and so it can be kind of a clearinghouse of ideas, so that a think tank perhaps that it helps to share the good things that are happening in the world of sport. And so little by little, there's a challenge of languages. We have 4 languages on our webpage, but we're trying to make available certain things that might be of interest in those languages in other parts of the world.
All told, the site is a great resource for lay people and groups in the world looking for a reference point for their activities at the Vatican. Electric cars are just the latest addition to the sustainable energy resources used by the Vatican. They're a sign of a movement in the Catholic Church to protect the environment and all creation while maintaining a focus on man's integral development.
Ma tutti I credenti devono rispettare la creazione come un grande dono di Dio.
All the faithful should respect creation as a great gift from God. They should respect it as the environment in which they live, and which they will have to leave as an inheritance for the coming generations, so that all people can enjoy its fruits and live in serenity along with all of the Lord's other creatures. We must therefore take responsibility for caring for this great treasure that has been given to us.
Invita tutti, non solo I credenti, ma tutti gli uomini.
The Pope naturally invites all people, not just believers, but all men, to have this positive relationship with creation, and also to have man as one creature, the most important and beautiful, the apex of creation, not separate its attention to the environment from its attention to humanity and his nature, his way of living according to the designs of God. Here, man is inserted into God's designs in his integrity. This is the vision the Pope has, which is of great respect for everything God has made, for his laws and his end.
Il Vaticano naturalmente,
The Vatican, of course, must carry out its activities in a coherent way, with respect for creation. Now, this culture of energy savings in renewable energies is also extending to the Vatican. In this sense, there are initiatives like the use of solar panels, for example, which produce energy from atop the audience hall. There is also the development of green energies going on, which don't contaminate the world around us, like the cars that were donated. So we attempt to follow the same steps as all of humanity in moving towards the forms that are ever more respectful of the environment.
The protection of nature and support for the world's most needy is the focus of a department here at the Rome headquarters of the Society of Jesus, also known as the Jesuits.
Justice and ecology goes hand in hand, because the people who are affected most by the environmental damages are the marginalized communities and the people. And so social justice and ecology secretariat is come on. And this is a priority for us at the moment because of we would like to build the deep relationship, as I said, and a spirituality which is in relation with God's creation. So.
In 2011, they published a document to guide their actions.
The objective of this Healing a Broken World is to recognize the deep relationship that exists between the human beings and with the nature, the spirituality of the relationship with God's creation, and also how do we, our lifestyle as Jesuits and above also all other human beings, our relationship and becomes much more just, and our lifestyle changes according to the need and to the environmental requirements. The environment has a lot to teach us, and God has put us as caretakers, as stewards of this wonderful creation of God, and as we Jesuits or every human being is totally dependent on this wonderful creation of God. And if we only can build this beautiful bond that exists between the nature and us, we will be glorifying God. And that's what is important for us to pursue, whether we are religious or Jesuits or normal human being, every other human being.
Welcome back. You're watching Vaticano. The 2,000-year history of the Church and its popes is especially apparent here, where they once lived.
Estamos aquí en el barrio de Costantino, el barrio de lujo de la época romana.
We're here at Constantine's neighborhood, a luxurious area in the Roman age, but we are right here at the home of the popes. The pontiffs lived here for more than 1,000 years. Here you'll find the true story of the Pope of Rome, therefore the Bishop of Rome, the Primate of Italy, the Patriarch of the West, the Universal Pope. In this moment, we're right here by the cathedral, the cathedra, and the palace of the Emperor Constantine, which was donated to the Pope as Pontifex Maximus. We can go inside now if you'd like, and I'll give you some information about this marvelous see, which could be called in lay terms the Papal Versailles. It's now a museum of the history and the culture of the Pope in Rome.
Esta es una portantina.
This is a portatina, which was donated to Pope Leo XIII. The truth is that he really needed it because he was rather old. It was a means of transportation back then. It's fantastic because it looks like a Venetian living room for the 1700s. Let's continue our walk.
Y podemos continuar nuestro camino. Este palacio fue hecho por Domenico Fontana.
This palace was made by Domenico Fontana and Bacco and Pope Sixtus V between 1585 and 1587. There are 10,000 square meters of frescoes created under the guidance of two painters.
El Papa tomaba posesión del palacio.
The Pope took possession of the palace with a famous saddle. Here we have proof of these facts in articles he used. They give us an image of the Pope as he arrived here at the cathedral.
Del pontífice que llegaba aquí a la catedral en esta manera. No, aquí es la batalla de Ponte Milvio.
This is the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, where Constantine defeated Masencio. And then there's the baptism of Constantine. There's also a depiction of Constantine who gives the palace to Pope Sylvester. The other is the Donatio from Constantine, with which he gives temporal power to the Pope. These images show how temporal power was given to the popes. The next room shows how spiritual power was given through the relationship between Christ and the apostles.
Cómo nace el poder temporal de los papas. La próxima y cómo nace el poder espiritual. Los pintores nos muestran.
The painters show us the relationship between Christ and the apostles clearly, and in a particular way through St. Peter, because it is he who was faithful to the church.
Con motivo del concordato, este salón se llama también la sala de la conciliazione.
After the Concordat, this room is called the Conciliation Room, but the truth is that it's a very important place for the history of the Church, because in this place, the Lateran Councils were celebrated in medieval times. The history of the Catholic Church had here its spiritual center, because from here, it would have gone down to the Basilica of the Savior, which we now call St. John Lateran, where the Fathers of the Council would have not only celebrated Mass, but also the word hierarchical.
Esta es la capilla del palacio.
This is the palace chapel, a private chapel where the Pope came to pray. You could say the Pope related to Christ heart to heart as they decided the future of the Catholic Church.
Con el Cristo y corazón a corazón decidían la suerte de la Iglesia católica.